Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about something absolutely essential, the lifeblood of your motorcycle. It's oil. It's way more than just a lubricant. It's the one thing that really dictates your bike's health, its performance, and honestly, how long it's going to last. So, let's get right to it.
So let me ask you this. Is the oil in your engine right now actually helping it, or could it be hurting it? I know it sounds like a simple question, but the answer is so important. The oil you pick and how you take care of it, that can literally be the difference between an amazing ride and a super expensive trip to the mechanic. So how do we make sure we're getting it right?
Okay, so at its core, oil has three massive jobs to do. First, lubrication, right? It creates this tiny protective film between all the moving metal parts to stop them from grinding each other into dust. Second, it cools. This is huge. It actually carries away up to 40% of your engine's heat. And third, it cleans. It has these detergents that grab all the gunk, like carbon and sludge, and carries it all over to the oil filter. It's doing a ton of work in there.
All right, so when you walk into the auto parts store and stare at that wall of oil, you're basically looking at three main choices. This is where a lot of us can get a little overwhelmed. I know I have. But honestly, it's pretty simple once you know what you're looking at.
So your choice really boils down to these three. You've got your basic mineral oil. It's the classic, most affordable option. Then in the middle, you have semi-synthetic, which is a great balance of performance and price. And then you have the top shelf stuff, fully synthetic. That gives you the absolute best protection, but yeah, it's going to cost you a bit more. Let's break them down and figure out which one is right for your bike.
Let's start with mineral oil. This is your old-school traditional choice. It's basically just refined crude oil. And it's perfect for older bikes, the real classics, anything from before about 1980. It's also great for those low-revving engines you'd find in a big cruiser or even a little scooter. Now, the trade-off for that lower price is that it breaks down faster. That means you've got to change it more often, usually every 2,000 to 3,000 miles.
Okay, next up is what a lot of people call the crowd favorite, semi-synthetic. It's exactly what it sounds like, a blend of mineral and synthetic oils. And because of that, it really hits that sweet spot between better performance and a price that doesn't break the bank. It's a fantastic choice for a huge number of modern bikes, especially those built from, say, 1980 up to 2000. It also gives a little extra protection for engines with a lot of miles on them.
And that brings us to the top of the line, fully synthetic. This stuff is literally engineered in a lab for one thing, maximum performance. It's designed to resist breaking down under insane heat and super high RPMs, which makes it pretty much essential for high-performance sport bikes. And the payoff for all that science? It's huge. You can often go 7,000, maybe even 10,000 miles between oil changes. That's a big difference.
Okay, so once you've picked your type, mineral, semi, or full synthetic, you grab the bottle. And it looks like it's written in some kind of secret code, right? All these numbers and letters? It can feel a little intimidating for sure. But don't worry, we're going to crack this code together. You've absolutely seen this on a bottle of oil, 10W40. It's probably the most common rating out there. But what does it really mean? What are those numbers actually telling you about what's happening inside your engine? Let's look at the first part, the 10W. That W stands for winter, and that number, the 10, tells you how thin or thick the oil is when it's cold. The lower this number is, the thinner the oil flows in the cold. And why does that matter? Well, it's super important for making sure the oil gets everywhere it needs to go to protect your engine right from the second you hit the start button. Okay, now for the second number, the 40. This tells you the oil's viscosity, or its thickness, when the engine is hot, at its normal operating temperature of about 100 degrees Celsius. A higher number here, like 40 or 50, means the oil stays thicker and creates a stronger protective film when the engine is really working hard. That's what protects it under heavy load. Besides the viscosity, you're also going to see something called an API rating. Think of this like a global performance standard. For pretty much any modern motorcycle, you want to see an S. That's for spark ignition engines like ours. And then another letter. Here's the key. The further down the alphabet that second letter is, the better the oil is. So look for something like API SL, SM, or SN. That's how you know you're getting good, quality stuff.
Now this next one is a huge deal for us riders. It's the JSO rating. It's a Japanese standard made specifically for motorcycles. And why is it so important? Because our bikes have something called a wet clutch, which means the clutch is bathed in the same oil as the engine. The JSO rating, look for MA or MA2, certifies that the oil won't make your clutch slip. And this, right here, is the main reason you can't just go grab any old car oil and dump it in your bike. It could really mess things up. Okay, so now we know the different types of oil and what all those codes on the bottle mean. Let's put it all together. I'm going to give you a super simple 3-step plan to help you pick the absolute perfect oil for your bike.
This little plan will cut through all the confusion. Step 1, and seriously, I cannot stress this enough, check your owner's manual. It is the #1 source of truth for what your bike needs. After that, step 2 is to think about your engine type. And finally, step 3, consider the climate where you do most of your riding.
And your engine type really does matter. Think about it. A high-revving sport bike engine is screaming its head off, generating a ton of heat. It needs a tough synthetic oil that can handle that abuse without breaking down. But then you have a big V-twin cruiser, right? It's all about low-end torque. That engine puts massive loads on its parts and needs an oil with a really strong, tough film to keep everything protected.
And of course, where you live plays a huge part. If you're riding through brutal summer heat over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll want a thicker oil, maybe a 15W50, to make sure it doesn't get too thin and watery. On the flip side, if you're starting your bike up in freezing cold weather, you absolutely need that lower W number, like a 5W or a 10W, so the oil isn't like molasses when you need it most.
So, you've gone out and bought the perfect oil. Your job is done, right? Well, not quite. Choosing the right oil is only half the battle. Making sure you maintain it properly is just as important. So let's talk about how to keep your engine happy for the long haul.
I want you to start thinking of your dipstick or that little sight glass on your engine as a window. It's a window into the health of your engine. And the oil you drain out, it's telling a story. It's telling you exactly what's been going on in there. Okay, so when oil is fresh and healthy, it has that nice golden amber color, and it's totally normal for it to get darker as it does its job. But here are the big red flags you need to watch for. If you check it and it feels gritty between your fingers, that could be tiny metal particles, a bad sign of internal wear. And the really bad one, if your oil looks milky, like a coffee with too much creamer color, you need to stop riding immediately. That means water or coolant is getting in there, and that could be a very serious, very expensive problem.
And don't forget to use your other senses. If you check your oil and it has a really sharp, burnt smell, or if it feels super thin and watery, almost like gasoline, that's a warning sign. It could mean fuel is getting into your oil, and that's bad news because it basically destroys the oil's ability to protect your engine.
So, the big question, when do you actually change it? Well, like we talked about, it depends a lot on the type of oil. Mineral oil needs changing way more often than a full synthetic. But your riding style is a huge factor too. If you're hitting the track or riding really hard all the time, you might need to cut those change intervals by 30, even 50%. But, and this is the golden rule, always start with the official recommendation in your owner's manual.
So, think about it this way. Your engine has a voice. Are you listening to what its oil is telling you? Because choosing and maintaining your oil isn't just a chore to check off a list. It's about that conversation. Your oil is constantly communicating your engine's condition, its needs, its overall health. Learning its language means you're doing more than just maintenance. You're ensuring thousands upon thousands of amazing, worry-free rides ahead.